car plant was, there were a lot of people from Detroit that had moved down, and they called them Pred Wings. Yeah, Prednecks. And yeah, so anyways, it's interesting back in the day because they were in the same division back then too, or conference at least. But, good?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. Appreciate you guys allowing us to go a little early here and also adjusting the schedule to be a little later too. Obviously a big week for us and an exciting week to have something at stake here late in the year to be playing for. You know, we're enjoying, you know, having the chance to have back-to-back wins and in our conference and seeing the fruits of the labor. And I'm so happy for our players to be enjoying that success too. And we're still kind of in the early stages of this, but, you know, for them to see that the process is staying faithful to the process pays off, and stepping into the fight each week and finding that belief, that formula to find a positive outcome has been exciting. And, you know, obviously we're going to have a tough task this weekend with a really good team coming in, but we're going to be excited for that task. And Tennessee's got a dynamic offense. They've been really good on defense this year too, but obviously we know that a lot runs through that offensive system. Obviously, you know, I heard for Hooker, who suffered the season-ending injury, and I think anytime you see a competitor like that go down, you know, you hurt for someone who's given so much to have their season cut short. But we know that as we line up against them, that Milton's going to be capable of executing that offense, that he's proven that at times in his career, but, you know, you could see flashes of that at the finish of the game. And they've got really good skill and a good offensive line, and they've got a good design. So that's what we're going to spend our energy focusing on, how we neutralize that design and how we do our best to put our defense in good positions. We see that as an effort across all three phases. So we need offense to be able to control drives and sustain drives and obviously finish with touchdowns. And we need our special teams unit to create an explosive play for us, and obviously to force them into long fields and position our defense to have success. So that's our collective plan. And that's what we'll be doing, and just fun to have a meaningful game here late in the season, and we're excited to go at it. So with that, I'm happy to open up.
So regarding the quarterback situation, is AJ going to be able to go? And if he is, you know, who's going to start?
Well, he's still working his way back, and we expect him to be kind of available and full go at practice tomorrow. I think you know, we have to see. I mean, he hasn't played football in a while, so we want to be conscious of that. Obviously, we know his skills, and he's certainly accumulated enough reps this year to be ready. He has to be healthy. If he's healthy, then again the decision tips to the person who gives a team the best chance to win. Obviously, Mike is coming off 2 weeks where he's run the offense to a level of effectiveness where we've had success in the run game, and we've also found success throwing the ball too, and we don't discount that. And so, you know, for us, this is a matter of here late in the year, knowing that all our chips are on the table and that, you know, we're playing and fighting to extend our season, that we'll make the decision necessary to what we feel like position our team best to win.
In terms of you know, the magnitude of this game, do you guys as a staff need to message your players about you know keeping it grounded and all that, or at this point is the culture to the point, and you know, after the last couple of weeks where the team leaders are kind of almost doing that themselves and just saying itself?
We don't want to. I think we have to be intentional about not adding emotion or creating. You know, we can talk about process and then message something that pulls guys out of process. Right? We have to be disciplined in the way we set our team up to go out on Saturday and pull from the learning from the previous weeks. I do feel like the team is committed to the process we've undertaken here to prepare through the week, and so we're not doing anything differently. I mean, the only thing that's different is, you know, the schemes and concepts that we're practicing against this week, obviously being unique to Tennessee. Other than that, you know, we're aware of the fact that we have a chance to to fight to extend our season. We're using that as a point of celebration, just to, again, be excited for that opportunity. But we know in the end, this is about us playing to our identity and our highest level of performance being enough. Now, there are aspects of our past two games that we feel like we need to grow from, move on from, whether it be the penalties in the Kentucky game or the turnovers in that game. Certainly the turnovers against Florida and times defensively where our structure's broken down in critical moments. We have to solidify those areas to give ourselves the best chance for the result we want. That'll be the messaging. That'll be how we attack the week. And otherwise, we're filling the time with our normal spirit and enthusiasm, and we're having fun. Just being focused on football this week, right? And then with a great Thanksgiving celebration coming Thursday, those are points of celebration and things that get us excited.
Do you prepare any differently for Joe Milton than you would have for Hendon Hooker?
Outside of subtle nuances that we'll study through the snaps he's taken, I think this is a system offense. I don't see it as deviating, if at all, from what has delivered their success. I think that they're still very skilled on the perimeter, and I think Milton has every tool he needs to get the ball out there. Obviously, they've also established a run game this season that's I think set up by their passing game, and so the way they stretch you out horizontally allows for that vertical puncture, and Milton can carry the ball too. They've used him in the South Carolina game with some draw work there, and he's been effective that way. So I just don't see it changing them that much. They've had a good formula, and the formula's worked. I think that Milton has the tools that he needs to go in there and really make the transition seamless.
How do you structure your back end? Because I know CJ's played different places, Jalen's played different places, DeRicky's shown some different looks. Where are you with those guys right now?
I think we've found a pretty, we've used CJ as the field overhang. Early in the year, he played a little more back. Once we get into sub-personnel groupings or third down, we move him around just a little bit because we can, and obviously that gives us variation, which on third down becomes an advantage. We know Jalen can play as a down cover player, but also, again, he's played deep for us most of the season, and with DeRicky, we've kind of settled into having him as the boundary safety for the most part. Again, with the ability to move him around a little bit on third down, and then we've used him at times too in against 12 personnel where we actually line him up on a tight end and let him play. So I feel like we've established a rhythm with those guys. We won't deviate from that this week. Obviously, I think their offense forces you to alter your leverage on the perimeter and alternate between 4-down looks and 3-down looks and do things that give you a chance to stretch the field without necessarily pulling at the box. Those will be things that we look at to create variation, but it won't be in moving guys around.
You've got kind of an interesting mix in the secondary. I guess you could include CJ, that's young guys who are contributing right now, and basically super seniors with Jeremy and I guess Jalen and Worship. What has been the impact of those guys in helping the younger players sort of figure things out back there? Considering this, I would think, based on Tennessee's tempo, is going to be a challenging week in that aspect.
It's been first of all those guys have strengthened us, and I think the challenge, for Jalen, for example, is he's really had to learn a new position this year. I mean, there's some carryover from his past, but he's played deep. That's what he's done, and this season, and that's been kind of a new world for him where he's had to adjust a little bit that way after having played corner and nickel for us, more a year ago. Obviously, Jeremy comes in with experience, but being new to the system and new to the place, so he's had to take time to just get adjusted. Max would be the one that's been the most steady, in terms of the position played and haven't been here, and certainly we've pulled from his leadership. But just because those guys are learning and through the season they're learning, I think it actually sets up nicely as a way to model for young players to say, this is how you show up every day and ask good questions and pay attention to detail. And though they haven't been able to necessarily focus their attention on getting others lined up, what they have been able to do is be very specific with the expectation of the style of defense we play and how hard we play. And sometimes those things, those foundational aspects of your personality on defense are as important as anything. You know, when the ball is thrown on the perimeter, are we pursuing with the energy that we need? And those are things that veteran players holding younger players accountable is a very powerful, it's just a powerful form of accountability. So, they've helped, and then you go into this week, and now we have a tempo team, and communication is going to be important and getting aligned. And certainly those guys will take leadership roles and making sure that we're, our course is set for success. But, that's something that they've grown into through the season as they've themselves become comfortable in the roles they're playing.
Mark, after the Kentucky game, Florida, what do you think it did for the guys on the team to kind of kick the door down, so to speak, and get the confidence of seeing the results?
Well, you'd like to believe that, you're able to, sell vision and message staying in it no matter what. And I think these guys have shown through the year that they're willing to step in each week, even without the result. However, look, I think it's a huge deal for them to recognize the control they have over the course of a game. And I say control like, and I've said this before in here, but too often I feel like we've fallen victim to offloading power to the opponent. I think I said a few weeks ago after the South Carolina game, like, we have to get better at the playing of football. And that's 11 guys being on the same page each snap. And when you have 11 guys on the same page each snap and you're avoiding self-inflicted wounds, then, you have a chance to play good football and actually put some pressure on the opponent. Past 2 weeks we've been able to do that, and we've done it at a level where, we've been able to capitalize on our opponent's mistakes. That's learning. And once you recognize the rhythm of a competitive game and how you impact the outcome through the course of it, those are learning experiences that you package away. And what you recognize is, go back to halftime at the Ole Miss game. We had momentum, we had rhythm. In the first half, we had established a run game, and at the halftime, we fell victim to unnecessary emotion, to maybe assumptions about the outcome. That once you've learned the process to win, you recognize that there's going to be punch and counterpunch in the second half. You're not going to ever have a situation where the opponent steps away and says, the game is yours. And we have to be confident enough and believe enough to where when we do incur a setback, that we fight through it, we persevere through it. What I've seen from this team in the last 2 weeks is they've taken that message to heart, and they're actualizing it in the performance. So it's not that the last 2 games have been perfect. Certainly, I feel like there's a lot of room for us to improve our play, but it's been good enough to win. And in particular, when we've had situations where early in the year maybe bad things snowball, the next unit on the field steps in and does what's needed to be done to right the ship. And that could be, our defense delivering a stop, delivering a turnover. That could be an offense driving to a score or having sustained drive. Certainly the special teams, to me, have been great connective tissue between the two units. You look at the end of that game, and we had 2 pin punts. So independent of the one that we recovered for a touchdown, there's 2 pin punts in the fourth quarter where we pinned the ball inside the 10-yard line where we have a 2-score lead. I mean, that's a huge point of execution that allows for the winning performance. And again, not to be long-winded, Gentry, but learning all those things and how they stack up and matter, and all those little details, how they can deliver that win. Right now we're not lining up and just being better than, but we're playing together and we're playing a style of football that's unlocking our potential. And we have to stay that course, and that has to be, again, exhibited again this Saturday for us to have a chance for the result we want.
Did you get an explanation from the SEC about the last play, both specifically like the guy being inbounds and the clock stopping, and then also that they got the snap off?
Yeah, no, I haven't yet, and I think probably had the situation tipped another way that obviously might have been more urgent in getting that feedback. But I said this last night to Andrew, but it's like that moment where you're so adamant that you're seeing it one way and it's not being seen that way on the field, and you're like, God, you step into it and then you're like, wait, am I wrong here? You kind of step back and no, and next thing you know that, the ball's being snapped and up in the air. What I see is an opportunity for us to execute that Hail Mary defense. I was really proud of the way the defense stayed locked in, and I thought that moment's a moment of growth for us because we've had those situations. If you're not focused in that moment and you're getting caught up in trying to officiate the game as a player, or your attention's at the wrong place, I mean, that ball goes up and the opponent has a chance to come down with it. Felt like the way we defended that snap, it really took away options, and I was proud of that. I have not spent a lot of time getting an explanation, though. It was a chaotic few seconds there for sure.
What does this game mean to you, considering you played here, you've been part of this rivalry, and then knowing the stakes of potentially going to a bowl game?
Well, obviously it means a lot. This is a game that I grew up interested in, and as I played here, obviously was very interested in it. And now as the coach, it means a lot to me too. But again, my focus right now is on building this program, on the mission of building this program, and recognizing exactly where we are, and in the moment, rather than kind of defaulting to the emotions that I feel around the game. Certainly the fight to extend our season is really important to us. I got a staff and a group of players that care a lot about each other and care a lot about what we're building, and they've done a great job positioning us at this point in the season to be within striking distance of a bowl game. Nothing's guaranteed, and we're going to have to earn it this Saturday. That I know, but we're gonna put focus on that because that's about that puts shine on exactly what it is we're doing here, and that's building a program that we're proud of. As far as the personal emotions, I feel they're there, but my discipline in keeping the mission focus of the program and how we're building out and learning the strength of Vanderbilt football and the identity of Vanderbilt football, those will be the things that I focus on this week.
Senior day, obviously you've got some guys who can come back, who might not come back. Do you have a good count of who's maybe playing their last game and who's not?
To say a good count, I think, would be misleading. There's going to be an element of after we get through the game, we'll honor guys, obviously, just like we did a year ago, but we'll be sitting down with a number of guys to determine what, the best course of action is moving forward. And so, I don't have a great answer for that right now, but obviously those conversations are conversations we've entered into during the bye weeks, but they just can't happen fully until we've kind of reached the end of the season. There's a dead period early next week that gives us the opportunity to kind of sit and really explore all those options.
Recruiting. How's winning 2 in a row helped your message and how it's received?
I think there's obviously there's visible evidence, and that certainly goes in lockstep with the vision that we're selling as a program, and everyone's excited about that. I mean, we have to use these opportunities to level up. We have to use these opportunities to go further in those recruiting efforts, and make sure that we're again staying focused on what we feel like is the profile of a Vanderbilt football player, someone who's tough enough to come in and help because there's still building ahead of us, someone who wants to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves and leave a legacy where you have a hand in turning a program. And obviously, what the last 2 games have done have shown everyone that we're at the beginning of something that can be really special. And for most of the people that we're in touch with, that's a point of excitement. So we want to continue this so that we can continue to level up and never deviating from our identity, never deviating from who we are, but we think that by being committed to our personality and being committed to the program we're building, we have a chance, again, to build something special and that we're going to reflect back on and be really proud of being a part of.
I think the only injury stuff we have at this point would be Xavier Castillo and Kivo. Are they both out?
They are, and then Ben Cox too, and then and Devin Body as well. Those are longer term injuries. Obviously, I don't know that we talked about Davian after the game, but did you see him get out there for a few snaps? Yeah, he got in there. It was good to see that. And obviously, AJ working his way back this week. We expect to be available, but I want to give the chance the week for him to make it through the week to be definitive on that.
One other thing, the Anchor Collective got announced. What's the impact of that for you guys?
Well, it's this is again, we talked, Chris, about leveling up. Here's a chance for us to level up with respect to the resources available to our student athletes, and we want there to be no compromises in choosing Vanderbilt. That comes from first the availability of an elite education, that you can come here and redefine what your future looks like by investing in your education here. Obviously, to play in the SEC and to be a part of a program that's building in this conference, which we feel like is obviously the best conference in college football. I mean, my friend David Culley said it best when he said there's 3 leagues. There's the AFC, the NFC, and the SEC, right? And so I enjoyed that when he said it. And then certainly the third is, as you experience success and there's opportunities for you to have a market value and resources, that we want to make sure that we're structured to make that available too. And it'll never be the lead for us. That's intentional. But to have this online and to have it, something here early in that's going to grow and become a great resource for our program, we're excited for that.
Anything else? Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks.